Good move, everybody. Good move, right? Today we have a very special guest, Coop from Movement. Hey, Coop.
Hey, gmove, how are you doing, Jack?
Yeah. Is it G move or good move?
Yes. I mean, it can stand for good move, all of those sorts of things. But
Welcome
gmove,
on. Yeah, no, welcome on DEGN Talk. It is such an honor to have you. I'm a close friend of Rushi's, and it's just you guys are just the talk of the town right now. Yeah, just quickly self intro and intro to Movement.
so I'm the co-founder of Movement. Movement Labs, what we're doing is we're scaling Ethereum by bringing the Move language directly on top of it. So with that move, it's faster, it's safer. It was built by Facebook's Elite Libra program to be very similar to Rust, but more blockchain native. So it's the most blockchain native programming language that exists. It was built for things like DeFi, like real world assets. Libra wanted to bring all of their big tech and big finance friends on chain, and Solidity didn't cut it. And so my experience has been growing up, I worked a bunch of different jobs, but was always looking for what the next big thing would be. I really believed that to be blockchain and Web3. But at the time that I joined, right, Ethereum, it already had its heyday. Solana, it was already having its heyday. And so I was looking for what the new thing could be. And I really believed that to be Move. So my co-founder and I, we both built two of the first applications in the Move language and ultimately believed that Move could be scaled so much further than where it had existed, and that the best way to do that was to onboard our community, onboard all of our developers, create a huge ecosystem around the language to accelerate its go-to-market and adoption.
Wonderful. What's your current focus right now on Move? I know you guys just launched mainnet, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, there's all kinds of network effects within networks to be done. For example, getting all of the applications ready for their launches. There's going to be lots of NFTs launching as well. There's a lot of meme coins that have already built up communities and presences on Twitter as well. And as it relates to the community as well, we're also scaling up our Parthenon program, where for testnet it was a way where we could recognize and reward our core community, and having a live network with real apps with real money. There's so much more that you can do in terms of recognizing your user base. I think that's something that Hyperliquid did really well. They were able to do a massively concentrated airdrop because they had the on-chain data with real, with not just a test net, but with real metrics and real things on the line. So I'm really excited to be, one, bringing back Parthenon, but secondly, bringing it back in a much more comprehensive way that I think is going to be really exciting for our community.
I think what Move has really done brilliantly from my following of Move's kind of different stages is you guys took care of your core contributors and developers very, very nicely. You know, it's important for a change such as yourself to have people to build on it, right? To build out the infrastructure, to build out the ecosystem. And it's really rare to see how, how much support you guys give to your builders. Kudos on that. Seriously, I've seen a lot of projects. They just don't really give a crap about their developers, which I think is quite comical because they're the ones that's really building on your chain, right? So, what's in store for the builders and the community coming up on Movement?
Well, right now, so I just got to Asia, and I'm super excited to be going to 11 or 12 different cities over the course of the next 3 or 4 weeks. And so, with that, in each of these cities, we're having a meetup. Our vision is to have regional hubs around the world where, for anyone that enjoys holding events or building live like IRL communities, then it's an opportunity to bring together all of the developers and the KOLs, the whales, the investors, the community members, the degens, the traders, all of these folks into one single place, and you get to meet your fellow movers in real life. And I think that there can be a lot of really cool network effects that stem from that. Because let's say you're a community member and you want to get a job in Web3. Well, this is a great opportunity to meet all sorts of people who currently are working in Web3 and might have a place for you. And you can build that relationship with them. You can get to know them and share your skill set. And yeah, the vision of doing this tour and popping by so many cities is that we have so many places where we have developers or these people in our community. And
Yeah.
so I think one of the meaningful differentiators of how we came to market with our testnet and with our community is being really intentional about recognizing the different things that people bring to the table. And so by doing that, we were able to really tell who our core community was, and then kind of like Hyperliquid, be able to give really big airdrops to the core community and the people who are really outstanding. And so this is going to be a way to keep doing that and hopefully do it even more and see even more things come from that. Like we've already seen a lot of our community members get hired, whether at like we've hired a few community members, a lot of apps have hired community members. We also train community moderators as well for apps to hire, but I would love to see even more of that and see a much stronger movement here.
Yeah.
So that's what's immediately coming up this next month for everyone.
Exciting. So, question from the developers, what kind of project are you guys really looking for right now, in kind of what vertical right now that you guys really hoping there'll be more developers of on Move? So, for example, it could be DeFi, it could be NFT, it could be GameFi. Like, what vertical are you guys kind of really missing right now?
I mean, we're pretty covered from the app side as well as we have a home for everyone who's building apps. Move is really great for every single vertical, whether it's DeFi, where you're having safer and faster transactions. GameFi, you're able to build your game way faster because you don't have to worry about the external tech stacks for data storage. The way that Move language works, it attributes ownership to all of the objects, and every object it's an in-game asset. So it's way faster to build, way more intuitive, and generally you can create better user experiences as well. And I'd say the area that I'd love to see more of, however, is from the consumer side, because I truly believe that we have one of the biggest, the realest, and the best communities in Web3. And so those sorts of applications that can just meet those folks directly where they are and create positive impact, solve problems in their daily lives, or just simply be engaging for them and be tapping into our Parthenon logic where we have core community that is just outsized, engaged, and super users. And I think that consumer apps are uniquely poised to be rewarding these super users. I kind of think of it as like, right, if the Xbox Game Store was able to see how many hours I had in Destiny and then was able to recommend me as a power user to other games that are like Destiny, or really to any game that might want to onboard a player who enjoys Destiny and will play a lot of hours of it,
Yeah.
then I, as a user, right, I should be getting a constant stream of rewards and incentives to continue playing the game because I'm doing a really good job at it. So I'd love to see that from applications as well. Like really thinking of user acquisition, and that what we've built is actually a really strong user acquisition funnel. And we've already done it. We have the data to prove that it works and that it makes the community very happy. So I'd love to see more folks just coming in and rewarding our most engaged users that we've identified through our Parthenon system.
Yeah, so rewarding really loyal users, right, across multiple kind of apps, right, not just kind of
Yeah.
one. Build a
Yeah.
system out where it utilizes movement as a whole, able to kind of reward them by putting in time into movement as a whole rather than just one specific app, right? So it's like a sort of like an achievement system where it spans across the entire ecosystem. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
something we're building out right now. And so I'm really excited for apps to start using that. Because every app, right, you want to onboard users. And
yeah.
generally what we've seen is folks will just airdrop to stakers or to token holders. And that's one way to do it, but you're taking a very broad approach and you're also doing so blindly. You have no
And when you
idea.
do that, you give zero incentive to the normal users, right? The people who's
Mhm.
not really airdrop hunting, right?
Yeah, so we encourage apps. You can take both approaches because you do want to go wide, right? You want to go wide and then go very deep for a very selective audience. Yeah, I hope that this can be really rewarding for anyone who wants to farm airdrops. Like, this is a way to not only farm, but you're actually building up your reputation in a very quickly growing community as well. which, as we've seen with community members getting hired within the ecosystem, that it goes way more than just getting an airdrop, but you can actually build a whole career here.
Yeah. I was going to ask you any alphas, but I just realized we just dropped the biggest alpha just now. Because literally, like, this is for both developers and for users, right? Both can really take advantage of that system that's up and coming. But I'm going to ask you anyway, any really big alphas apart from what we just discussed that's coming in the next couple of months for
I
movement?
would say that's the biggest alpha, that there's going to be a lot of things tracking, not just like we already do a lot of tracking within Discord, but now there's going to be a lot of tracking on chain. And
Yeah,
so
no,
that's
that's
the type of
huge.
thing
That is
I would
huge.
expect. I'd expect there to be a lot of visibility for these apps. What's great is that we have really wonderful infrastructure partners, one of them being Pangea, where it's basically very, very fast indexing. And because it's very, very fast, it's also very, very scalable. Like it can do a lot. And so we're really going to take this out to track and push it to its limits. But the type of data that apps are asking for, they're really interested to get a deeper profile, right? So it's easy to see, okay, who's staking, but what if you could also see what percentage of the wallet is being staked? What if you could see who is LPing, or who is putting money into borrow lend, or even see who's gotten liquidated if you want to onboard that specific set of users. One of the things that apps overwhelmingly ask about is they want to know, like, if you got an airdrop as well, what did you do with it? Did you go and put it into DeFi? Did you go and just hold it, or did you go and dump it? And so they're going to, I believe that we're going to see applications basing their own airdrops and how they onboard users based on that information. Because if a user is taking their airdrop and they're going putting it in DeFi, and especially if they're putting it in things that have risk like LP pools, I think that's really attractive to them. Whereas if someone's getting an airdrop and they're just dumping it, whether it's our airdrop or an airdrop from another application, then that's reputation as well. And so an application's probably going to want to concentrate the drop on the people who are going to do something with it, as opposed to people who are just going to leave. So I think we're going to see more effective, like not just for us, but for apps within the ecosystem. They're going to do a better job rewarding real users, real holders, and people who are going to engage with the system. And ultimately, I think it's going to protect their downside as well, because they're going to avoid dropping to dumpers as well.
When you said liquidation, I thought this is actually a really good idea because if you look at crypto Twitter, right, people are thrilled to see big accounts getting blown up, right? They are absolutely thrilled. Like the engagement on those tweet posts are just insane, right? Um, Imagine having a system where you see not just liquidations, but see the wallets that made the money from that liquidation. Instead of seeing the liquidation itself, you also see where that's money because it's a zero sum game, right? The money that you
Mhm.
lost is made by other people on chain, right? That's really fun of it.
Yeah, nowhere to be
That would be
packaged.
just insane. It would be so. It would be like a PvP game, but with real money because that's what it is essentially.
Yeah, you can get like the GTA online, like the scoreboard of how many times you got
Yeah,
liquidated
it's
by the.
like one achievement is you made 2 million from other people's liquidations or something. Like, it's like 0.1% people has got that or something, and then you have another achievement that's like lost like 5 million.
Exactly, because it's like if I lose a lot of money, like the least I can get is a consolation of having an achievement, because that, right, that's a story, that's a lore.
What's the future roadmap for Move for the next 6 to 12 months? Like big kind of milestones that you guys are hoping to achieve.
Yeah, so coming out, so we're starting with a centralized sequencer. So it's a pretty effective way for getting to market, but long term, we want
Yeah.
to see this decentralized and expanding the validator set and even onboarding community, onboarding ecosystem and applications into that validator set as well. Because it's really important to us that the network's not only decentralized, but it's a movement. So we need to share all of these different pieces with our core believers and the people who are our core participants as well. We're going to be rolling out the ability for people to launch rollups on top of movement. So with that, like some really interesting use cases, you can have real world asset oriented rollups where they can have a completely customized blockchain environment and tailor that to the needs of their partners and their customers. Same with having like a privacy centered rollup, where that could also be, in theory, a black box where you can route transactions or route things through that rollup, pass it out into other parts of the chain. And kind of similar with the real world asset rollup, with that, you can have RWAs come onto the chain in a very compliant, very simple way, and then have creative solutions by which people can perhaps borrow against their real world assets in the more DeFi oriented zone of the chain, or maybe even having a DeFi app chain. So I think it's going to be really exciting as well to see this, because what we're in this for is just pushing forward the innovation and the possibilities of the Move language. So I kind of think of it in video game terms, where if in a lot of games maybe you start with like bronze and then you level up that skill tree and then you can build with iron and then you can build with steel. I think that Solidity, it's a lot like bronze. It's the very first. It showcased what was possible, but it really doesn't scale too far. And so it's had time to kind of level up that skill tree. And now we upgrade, we prestige and move on to the Move language, where its generations significantly improved compared to it in all of these aspects. But we're starting from scratch. We need to level up the skill tree once again. And I think
I
that
see
will
you
be
guys as like game engines. It's like you
yeah.
guys are like Unreal Engine 5. And then Ethereum's like Unreal 1. It's like the bases. It's like ID 1 or something.
Hmm.
And then like everything's so like kind of jagged in the beginning. And then
Hmm.
as we move forward, you have different technologies like OpenCL, Vulkan, etc. to actually kind of accelerate all these things. And you guys kind of are one of those niches that quite beautifully fits into like this crowded area of chains. Nah, keep doing what you guys are doing because it's working,
Thank you.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
and it's our
ta-
meaningful differentiation, the Move
yeah,
language.
it is. It is.
There's so much noise of like everyone's like, oh, I'm an Ethereum chain, but I'm 10% faster than the previous one. And so that's my meaningful differentiation. But I don't believe that's meaningfully differentiated. I think that right, it's night and day. Solana got so much FUD early on about being centralized, but that's what enabled it to be so fast. That's what enabled it to scale so much. I think the market, right, it values scalability and speed way more than centralization. I honestly don't think that the market cares about at least centralization in terms of tech stack. I think centralization in terms of value accrual, like that's something that the market is not a fan of at all. Where I think, right, we see chains where they launch and then you have the team and investors, right, they're staking like twice as many tokens are in circulation and just kind of dumping on retail. And ultimately, I think that turns off communities and turns off builders because you're playing a losing game there
Yeah.
if you're participating in that network. You're right. That's why we left Web 2 and why my co-founder and I dropped out of college because the in my opinion the modern career it's become just like a chain where you've got the insiders staking their locked tokens. It's staking many times more that are even in circulation. And so with respect to that, everything that you do as a new economic entrant at a job, it's like it has been painstakingly crafted to extract value from you, where you're only getting little pieces of it, not enough to get by, and all of that value is instead working its way all the way to the top for the fat cats to keep eating. So it's like I think that centralization in terms of token is something that we really need to move on from, really need to move on from things like investor staking, really need to move on from things like team staking when it's done maliciously to just dump on your users and your developers. But ultimately, I think that we can do so much better and we are going to do so much better.
I think it's good right now in terms of due to this meme coin cycle that we just experienced, a lot of people kind of understood how how tokens work, right? And they're more kind of more vigilant when it comes to kind of these, at least they're asking the right questions now, right? Before they would all they asked is a contract address. Now at least they're asking, okay, how what's the distribution is, right? how many holders are like, like, do I mean they know how to identify these worlds? So I think we're definitely moving in a right direction. Tell us more about your APAC tour, right? That's what's happening right now on Movement, right? And you're in Taipei. Would love to know more.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the goal here is to rally all of the different participants in each of these different cities, bring them together, and then create this Cambrian explosion of network effects for each individual that's involved here. Because I think that everyone brings something to the table. And so we want to just get together and put the puzzle pieces together in a way that we can all grow faster and win more together. Because we're all aligned under this umbrella of Move. We are
Yeah.
all holders of the token. I think many of the people here, whether you're the community member or the developer or the person who's just writing really good threads and got recognized for being kind of like a KOL within the movement ecosystem, which we have many community members that have grown into KOLs, right? We all have vested interest in the success of this network. So coming together to figure out how do we grow it? How do we take this from here? I'm meeting so many amazing folks as well. Like it's great to be seeing a lot of folks from our ecosystem in person. Again, hanging out with them, eating amazing food. I love the food here. So I'm probably gonna come back like 10 pounds heavier, maybe. But yeah, I'm honestly I'm just so excited.
Before we finish off, do you have any final words for developers looking to build on Move?
I would say there's so much opportunity in Move because, right, it's prestige in terms of it's a brand new language. And so it's the type of thing where you can have college dropouts come and become subject matter experts and do big things like what we're doing. And what we've created is a home for anyone that feels disenfranchised, anyone who feels like they're missing out. Move is the single greatest opportunity of this generation, in my opinion. And so, right, it's the same level of like internet, it's the same level of social media. This is the next wave. And so, what we're doing at Movement is just helping facilitate that go to market. So, if you're a developer, what we can help you with is learning Move. We can get you a grant. It's really easy to get plugged into that from our side. We think anyone who's building deserves to have a fair piece of the network. We're not going to make you answer like 50 questions and wait a month in order to hear back from us. We have a super active team. So anything that you need from like connections to other projects, connections to like KOLs within the ecosystem, if you want to do an AMA and showcase your project to our nearly million size community. And we've helped people grow their Discord servers from a couple thousand to tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands just by onboarding community members from our side who are really excited to engage with authentic people and authentic applications that are being built. So I really think that, right, you can think of it as like being early on Ethereum or being early on Solana, but this is so much bigger than just being a chain. This is a language that's been battle tested by Facebook. It's easier to learn. It's more intuitive to develop with, right? The code just makes a lot more sense than Solidity. And it's also way cheaper to get audited, not only because it's much safer, but because a great chunk of that safety is due to its intuitiveness, how easy it is to code, how easy it is to read and understand what is happening with all of the data and all of the assets. So you're not only going to get faster audits, but way, way cheaper. And so I'd really encourage anyone who already, especially if you know Rust, you basically know Move. It's only going to take you a week or two to be able to start building Move contracts. And even if you only know Solidity, all of the concepts of how you think about blockchain, the syntax, it's much more aligned to that. So that's what I mean by it being more intuitive. So even if you don't know Rust and you only know Solidity, I think that, right, if you know the blockchain fundamentals, you're going to see that it's like speaking your native language with the code when it comes to blockchain. So would highly recommend that you get in touch. You can reach out to me directly on Twitter. You can reach out to any of our team members on Twitter as well. We'd love to meet you and would love to support you in what you're building.
So, Coop, tell us about Movement's involvement with the US government. Obviously, I understand you can't touch too deep into this issue, into this question, but we'd love to know.
Well, I would just say that it's really validating to see recognition not just from government officials, but all the way up in terms of support for the Move language, support for the movement network. I think it really speaks to that the government, right, is trying to be forward looking with regard to the crypto industry. And I'd say the key area that they seem to be wanting to make positive change is creating pathways for the legitimate teams and founders to bring their companies onshore and just be proudly American made crypto. And so, if I had to guess, that's what a lot of the recent support is stemming from, that we're a very proudly American based team, that we're very proudly working at the very cutting edge of technology. I think there's really cool parallels as well because back in, I believe, 2017, Facebook's Libra project, it got shut down because the government stepped in and was like, nope, you can't do this. And so there's parallels with respect to kind of the regulatory environment as well as the attitude towards crypto in general that is shifting, that now we see a lot of appetite from the government for the Move language and for America's based teams.
So is Movement doing anything in the AI realm, meme coin stuff? I know it's the previous cycle already, but what's the kind of idea there?
So from the meme coin side, we have a very fun community. There's always shit posting happening in the Discord. And what you also see, I think with every chain, I mean, the way that they generally think about it is that they have a core, almost insider group where you grow the circle. At least that's how in the past meme coins have thought about growing. But what's really cool about this is that circles have kind of organically developed within the community. So we not only have things of like from movement side, you have guild leaders, you have guild participants and the folks who are really participating there. You have guild initiates where these are the people who are just getting started with their journeys into real participation. But then also from the community side, you have this really cool phenomenon called the guerrilla movers, where it spontaneously emerged from our community, just following the ethos of what we believe in as a network and how we treat each other in Discord and treat our community. They created their own system of recognizing each other, where it's kind of self-validating from other community members. And so what's really cool is in that you have multiple levels. You have like baby gorillas, you've got folks who are in the jungle and are officially gorillas, you've got your silverbacks who are kind of like the leadership and the cream of the crop. And so what I think I mean, one, I'd expect a lot of things to spontaneously emerge from these circles. But even if you are kind of like an outsider to these groups, if you're, say, launching a meme coin, I think that there's a lot of cool logic in which you can go to our core community members, and there already exist circles for if you want to grow the pie, if you want to onboard the most engaged and most active, most loyal people first. And if they rock with it, maybe it's going to grow and kind of spread throughout the community. So I think that we have social infrastructure in place for people who want to build communities in general and want to launch memes and kind of have fun there. I mean, one of the meme coins, one of our core community members, Towels, he has a dog, and there's a token for for his dog, and you've got like sticker packs and people say stuff. I think that's really cool. And then from the AI side, we've got a few really cool teams building on top of us. One of the OG AI teams has been Random, in which they're building AI agents. They've got a few different agents that they've developed tailored towards specific things. One of the more recent ones is the Rena Labs team. So with them, they're also building agents, incredibly capable team. Like these guys have built multiple products before as well. So I'm super duper confident in these guys as well. Another cool team is Deer, where it's AI robotics. So essentially from I mean, you can think of it in terms of 3D printing, right? 3D printers, they need models of what to work with. And so what you can do is with certain phones, you can take pictures of things. People upload bounties where maybe they're like, I want a water bottle that fits within these dimensions. And then you can take your phone, and if you take a picture of it, you can upload it to the cloud, And then if someone uses that picture that you took for the models that they're training, then you actually get paid for it. So it's a really cool kind of like bounty system where folks can upload what they want to see. You can upload stuff and yeah, get your fair share of the data that you're sharing.
Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna ask you just one last question before we finish off. What's your view on the current market cycle right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty bearish for some time, honestly. I think even since like well over a year ago, like not last December, but the December before that when things started heating up, I was just thinking, why is the market so good? I think that honestly, what we've seen, it's exciting to see institutions come into the blockchain. I think that that was massive for Bitcoin. We saw what happened there, but unlike previous cycles, Bitcoin having a great day did not necessarily translate to the altcoins having great days. So it was crazy looking at the altcoin market recently and thinking like, right, like this is altcoin market at 90K Bitcoin, right? Imagine if this was, 2021 or 2022, imagine what the altcoin market would be if Bitcoin was at 90K. But we have this real decoupling that we're seeing right now. And so I think that generally, right, if you're an everyday person, I think things have been getting significantly worse for quite some time now. And so that impacting the consumer ability to spend, I generally would think it would hurt markets. I think we kind of see a lot being propped up from institutions coming into the Web3 space, and as well as just institutions in general, stocks as well. So like long term on a 5 year, like I could not be more excited. This is massively validating, and I think it's going to lead to network effects for application builders, especially people at the cutting edge building with things like Move, whether you're a network or an app as well, because we have apps building things that are going to onboard these institutions and onboard their users. But I think that if you're not short term, I would expect there to be a lot of volatility, especially from the recent meme cycle that we
Uh-huh.
saw, where it's just like incredibly bearish looks to have the right what we saw with a few of the bad actors and performers there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're in, what a time to be alive. I think there were days where everything's red and the only thing that's going up is move. So everyone's like,
Yeah,
hey, look at that lonely green candle. Who's that? Oh, move. What is going
bet
on there?
on
I
the
think
future. The way I see it
that's marketing right there,
on
naturally.
on the short term, you're gonna have blips because the market's gonna do its thing. I do think that we're in a bear market. I think that people are coming to terms with the economic realities of
Yeah.
that. We're all super excited for the new regulatory environment. We're super excited for institutions coming on chain. A lot of that has started, but it's going to take time to really see the fruits of all of that. And so, short term, right, we're seeing really high inflation. We're seeing it still be right. Apartments cost like way too much than they should. Groceries cost so much. And so, yeah, I think that short term, right, people are recognizing like this is still the reality. The reality is still bleak, but the future, I think we can have a lot of hope for. And so I think that, right, prepare for the future, place your bets on the future. That's my biggest call to action. That's what Rishi and I did with the Move language, dropping out of college and just going all in on the
All
future.
in.
And
Yeah.
so I think that we've proven a lot of things that this is something that is worth betting on. And yeah, really just a call to action for anyone who wants to make that bet and go all in. Like, come cook with us, come do stuff with us.
You've heard it on DEGN Talk. This is Coops. Coop, thank you so much for your time. Coop will be in China, visiting a few cities. I'll be linking the tweet. So if you want to catch him offline in real life, there will be some dates, right, Coop,
Yeah,
that
I'll be
people
all
will be
over.
able to go
So
and meet. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be in China for like the last week of March, and then I'm going to be in Bangkok. I'm going to be in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh. I'll be in Singapore. Fingers crossed, we'll be going out to Jakarta as well, and then Seoul, and finally Tokyo, and then back home to my own bed.
Well, Coops, it's such a pleasure to host you today on DEGN Talk. Hopefully, this will be one of many. for you, for movement as well. So I'll be definitely inviting you guys more onto our podcast as well. Thank you for the audience for viewing this, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you.